Today, we're going to be concentrating on section 14. And I think you may be surprised at the, I don't like the word profound, but the profoundness that we're going to uncover in this brief section. It's really going to prove to be $1 million riding lesson, the first of several. $1 million riding lesson. But first, I need to tell you guys this. If you are just starting this lecture with lecture 3, go back and sit through lectures 1 and 2. Go back. Sit through the first 2 lectures. Then start this one. I said it may just be an exercise in discipline, but that is what this is. And skipping sections or rushing through sections is the cause of most riding problems and the cause of most training problems. Be thorough. Spend 20 minutes and go back to the first 2 lectures and then come back here. So section 14, I promise you, it's t-shirt worthy. We're going to make a t-shirt of it. It's so important. But before we get into it, I want to skip back to section 22, where we are told the definition of a trained horse, which is our end goal. But in paragraph 2, there's a very important distinction made. Training is distinguished from breaking in that during the breaking period, acclimatization and physical development are of utmost importance, and the rider must at this time make many concessions to the young animal. However, during the training period, the horse must submit to the requirements of the rider and learn to give his complete obedience. Training shouldn't be started until the breaking or starting period has started to take effect. Now, I know that there will be someone among you who will flip out and take offense to the word breaking. So I want to address that. It doesn't mean that they're breaking the spirit of the horse or breaking his, mind or anything like that. It just means starting a horse. Getting him used to the school environment, being tacked up, starting in the arena, other horses around him. And by the end of the start period, the nursery school period, the horse can go around walk, trot, canter, and he can turn left and right, and he knows a few enough signals to go and to stop, and he's then ready to be trained. This leads me to the crucial point that is the main cause of the infantilization of riding by the U.S. horse industry. Here it is. Of these cowboys and internet gurus and traveling clinicians have existed and keep people and horses existing only in the breaking starting period. Horses and riders are not proceeding from the starting period. This is the equivalent of people keeping a 12 or 13-year-old human child in nursery school until they're 20 through adulthood. And it is the fault of people. Any of you that are supporting these cowboys whose livelihood requires people to remain ignorant and in nursery school, in the round pen, constantly joining up, thinking that they're going to have a relationship with their horse before they have a language. thinking their horse is trained because they can put a saddle on him. The horse isn't trained. The education of the horse it's much more beautiful, and it is much more thorough. We are going to go past this. And everything that we do here supposes that the horse has already been started. Xenophon himself sent his horses to a starter. The starter's name was Simon. Send your horse to a starter, have the horse be started, then train your horse. So the horse is started, and we're approaching his real education. He must understand and be responsive to the signals for 4 different actions. There's only 4 things he really needs to know, and those things are carry, go forward, turn, stop and slow down, and carry on. All possible movements and all gaits and all positions and exercises are derived from these 4 elementary actions. And it is necessary, it is mandatory, it is definitely required that these ideas be taught as soon as possible, comma, and separately, comma, before they are associated in producing combined effects. These 4 elements being thoroughly understood by the horse, the young horse and the growing up horse, adapted to what he's able to do, and continually developed according to his maturity and his physical condition, accomplish his education. There is nothing outside of these 4 elements or events. Go, turn, stop, slow down, and carry on. Now, this is the $1 million riding lesson. These things need to be taught as soon as possible because they are the foundation of his entire education. And they need to be taught and understood separately. And separately, before they are associated together. You will avoid one of the most costly, time-consuming, ruinous, and expensive mistakes in riding if you take to heart right now today, comma, and separately, comma. 9 times out of 10, the primary task is always uncluttering, making separate these 4 elementary ideas in his mind and in his body, and separately. I cannot, if I could just get this idea, and separately, that you become convinced that that is an absolute one of the cornerstones of training. Just believe it. Buy the t-shirt. Then, when these ideas are functioning on their own, well understood and separately, in riding, we then, and in the education, as the horse is becoming more mature and fluent, their effects, the effects of these 4 elements are combined, but never the elements themselves. And this goes to aids. The signals for these actions are the natural aids. We've all heard of the independent aids. This is comma and separately. And the French like to lay claim that they're the only ones who understand the combined effects, but that isn't the case. We never combine these actions, and we never combine aids. We combine the effects of the aids, and we combine the effects of the 4 elementary actions. Never the actions themselves. And this is said many different ways. Leg without hand without leg, seat before each. Aids are successive, never simultaneous. This is mantra, this is doctrine, this is absolute. Don't combine your aids. Keep everything uncluttered. An example of this is half halt. Many people believe that half halt is like a milkshake of halting and going, but it's much more like going than instigating a halt. And as soon as the effect of instigating a halt is evident, then proceeding by going again. It combines the effects of those actions. It doesn't combine the actions. Half halt isn't a milkshake. Go, turn, stop, and later carry on. Keep these clear from each other, that their effects influence each other and influence the way of going, but they don't get turned into sludgy, confused, indistinguishable mess. Comma, and separately. I've harped on this. I hope enough. And next lecture, we are going to go to the opening rein, the means of turning right and left, which is the start of his education and ours. Off we go, comma, and separately. These early lectures are text-heavy, dense, very classroom-seeming, and a lot of there's not a lot of pictures or video or animation or images of horses even. And in a way, it's a test. I am interested in who is going to sit through the information part of riding. It is a part of riding that you must have. If you have it, it won't make you ride well, but you won't really ride well without it. So I guess we could call it a test. Will you sit through something that isn't a laugh a minute? Old trainers and great trainers. Kira Kirkland is one example. I think she brings up go, stop, turn at the beginning of every lesson she teaches publicly, every clinic, every interview. Check it out. This is ancient knowledge that is overlooked. Don't overlook it.